Hello everyone, I'm Tara, the dance doctor. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm teaching you two more basic samba figures, the grapevine and the open box. I teach each one on their own and practice them with music, and then put them into a small practice routine for you. At the very end of this video, I attach the two steps from today's lesson onto the samba practice routine that I taught in the last Samba Basics video so that you can continue to practice all of the steps that I've taught thus far. As always, you can find timestamps for each section of the video in the description box below. Also in the description box, I have a link to my Patreon page. If you love my content and you want to get early access to my video lessons, you can visit my Patreon page and become a member. I truly appreciate all of your support. We're going to get right into the lesson. I just want to remind you to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the post notifications so you can see when I upload more stuff like this. Now let's get dancing.
Okay, let's get right into the first step that we're going to be learning today, which is the grapevine. Anytime that you hear the word grapevine as it refers to a dance step, what we're talking about is taking a foot behind and then taking that same foot forward, behind and forward. This step exists in a lot of different dances, and it's called the grapevine because that's how grapes grow on a vine. So anytime you hear that, that's what it is referring to. Now, that being said, a grapevine in foxtrot, for example, is going to have a very different technique from a grapevine in samba. So today, obviously, I'm going to apply the grapevine step to samba. So the samba grapevine looks like this. We're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. So as you can see, I'm bringing my feet together on the ands, which is often the most difficult part about this step. So we're really going to focus on that action today because that's also where we're going to get our samba bouncing action in, okay? So, as I said before, I'm going to be taking one foot back and then that same foot forward and then that same foot back and that same foot forward. So we're just going to practice that to start. So I'm going, without thinking too much about the rotation yet, I'm just going to do the step back, together, forward, together, back, together, forward, and then I'm going to bring this left foot around and I'm going to switch sides. So now my left foot is going to be doing the grapevine action. Forward, together, back, together, forward, together, back, and I'm going to bring my right foot around, back, together, forward, together, back, together, forward. Bring this around. Forward, together, back, together, forward, together, back, and bring the right foot around to repeat. So you can do that as many times as you like. Okay, so that's the structure of the step. Now we're going to talk about some different technical elements. So the first technical element that we need to know is which foot we are rotating on. We're doing 1/8 of a turn from the pelvis down every time we change from back to front with our walking foot. So we need to rotate on our foot to make that change possible so that it's not awkward, okay? So we're going to talk about which foot is rotating. So we're going to start going back on the right, back, then we're going to rotate on the right as we bring the left foot in, change weight, step, rotate, change weight, back, rotate, change weight, and forward. And then I bring this around and I rotate on this right foot. Now I'm going to switch. Forward, rotate, and change weight. Back, rotate, change weight. Forward, rotate, change weight. Back, and around. Back, rotate on the standing foot as you bring the left foot in. Then you change weight. Forward, rotate and bring that foot in, change weight. Back, rotate, change. Forward, rotate, change. Back, rotate, change, and forward, around. Forward, rotate, change weight. Back, rotate, bring the ankles together, change weight. Forward, rotate, change weight. Back and around. Okay, so that's the technique for the rotation. Now, as I said before, we're going to put that Samba bounce into this step. And we're going to do it when we're bringing our feet together. So we're going to go back, and as we rotate, we're going to lift the heels and bring the knees and the hips forward. This is the cornerstone technique of Samba. This is what makes Samba Samba. So if it's not a technique that you're familiar with, I recommend that you go to my Samba Basics 1 video so that you can become acquainted with this action, because it is very important throughout your Samba dance. Okay? So we're going back, rotate, and bring the heels and the hips and the knees forward. Change weight, step. And as I bring my feet together and rotate, I'm doing my bouncing action forward. Back, bounce, step, and here I'm going to keep my heel flat. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Step, bounce, change weight. Step, turn and bounce, change weight. Step, turn and bounce, change weight, and back, and rotate. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. We rotate on this foot, we bounce, we change weight. Step, rotate, bounce, change weight, step, and rotate. Again. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so very important that we are turning on our standing foot, bringing the ankles together, and doing that bounce on all of the ends, except for when we change direction, we're going to omit the bounce for now. We're just going to keep the standing legs straight and rotate with everything all together. If that all feels okay for you, and you want to add just a little bit more style to this step, I'm going to give you some options to use when we are doing this step that changes direction. So we go back, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. We're going to do a passe as we come around. And so we're going to bring the left foot, up to our right knee. And this leg, the right leg is going to be straight, and then I'm going to extend that leg to go into my next step. 1, and 2, and 3, and here I'm going to do a ronde with this right foot. So I'm going around so that I'm ready to then start going back again. So I go 1, and 2, and 3, and passe. 1, and 2, and 3, and run. 1, and 2, 3, passe. 1, 2, 3, run. Okay? So now we're going to practice the grapevine step with music. Okay, so we're going to start with half time, and then we'll do real time. 5, 6, box. I've chosen to teach these two steps together because they're similar, not the same, but they are similar. And so anytime that we're learning something that has similarities, it's going to help us reinforce our technique and our rhythm and other things like that. So that's why I've chosen to put these two steps together. The open box looks like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So as you can see, I'm using the ronde and the knee like I did in the grapevine, but what my feet are doing in between is a little bit different. Similar, but not the same. So first I'll just explain what the feet are doing without any technique. I'm going back, side, forward, forward, side, back. Back, side, forward, forward, side, back. Again, open boxes are used in many, many different dances. And it's called an open box because a box refers to any step where I am creating like a rectangle or square on the floor with my feet. Back, side together, forward, side together. This is a closed box because I'm closing my feet to create the square. In an open box, in whichever dance you're applying it to, we're going to go back and side, and then instead of closing the feet, forward. And then forward and side, and instead of closing the feet, going back. Now, to this. In this step, it's unique because we're not going to get a lot of bounce from the heels. We are going to use the bounce in the knees more than the heels. So I'm just going and, sending the knees forward, but because of the structure of the step, not sending my heels with it. It just doesn't quite make sense with this step. But because we want to maintain the bounce in some form, we're going to send the knees forward, 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 okay? So if I add that action onto this step, I'm going and, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and down, up, 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 down. So as you can see, this up here is a transition. I'm not changing weight on that second up. So I go up. This is the first thing that I do is actually that transition where I'm not changing weight, but I'm pulling my weight up onto straight knees, and then I step onto a bent knee. I lift. I step down onto a bent knee. I lift in that transition. Down, up, 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 down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, step, 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 and step, 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 and step, 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 and step, 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 and. Now, I'm saying down and up, although because my knees are bending and straightening, just as a teaching tool, but what we really want to be thinking about is sending the knees forward. So we don't want to be going down, up, as if we're doing squats. But like I said, I'm just saying that for bend straight, bend straight. So I go straight, bend straight, bend straight, bend straight, bend straight, bend straight, bend, bend straight, bend, bend straight, bend, and bend straight, bend straight, bend, and bend, bend, and bend. Now, the other thing that I'm really playing with in this step is when my knees bend, as I talked about I go and, I start by and, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, bum, bum. Okay? So that's what we're thinking about. Let's try that again a little bit faster. So I'm going to start with my right foot pointed out in front, and I'm going to start by lifting. So I go and 1, 2, 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 and 1, 2. Okay? Now, it's going to feel pretty intuitive to add those actions that we have on the changes in the grapevine because of the action that the knees and the pelvis are creating. So I'm going to go and 1, 2, and as I send my pelvis back, I'm going to lift my knee to come around. Bum, bum, bum. And as I send my pelvis back, it's going to bring this foot around. 1, 2, knee. 1, 2, rounded. 1, 2, knee. 1, 2, rounded. 1, 2, knee. 1, 2, rounded. Okay? So now we're going to try this half time with music and then real time with music. 6, ready, we go. The practice routine that we're going to do is just doing the first step, the grapevine, twice, and then the open box twice. So that looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back into the grapevine. Okay? So I'll do that facing away, and then we'll try it out with music. So we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Grapevine. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And like that, you can just keep alternating back and forth. So now let's give that a shot with music. Here we go, half time. Here we go. attach the 2 steps that we did in today's lesson onto the practice routine that we had in the last Samba Basics video. So in Samba Basics 1, we used 3 different steps, and then in Samba Basics 2, I put those 3 steps together in a routine with the 3 steps that I taught in that video, and now we are going to add these 2. So now we'll have an 8-step routine, which will take up a good chunk of music, so it'll be a really great practice routine for you if you're wanting to improve your samba and enjoy your dancing. And we'll just keep adding to it in our next samba videos as well. Okay, so we're going to start with the little practice routine that we've created today. We're going to end it just a little bit differently to give us a transition to go into our volta fogos. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So instead of doing that last part of your open box with the ronde, we're going to cut it off. So we did our knee up, 7, 8. So this is a very common samba transition that we use when we need to change direction or change our step. It's just called a foot change. 7, 8. And it basically is just a volta fogo staying right in place. 7, 8. Now we're going to go into our volta fogos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to go into our batucadas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And into our voltas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Real time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Feet together for our stationary samba walks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whisk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And lastly, we have our basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we can start over with our grapevine, taking that right foot diagonally back. Okay, so that is our routine. When we dance it with halftime music, all of the voltas will be halftime. When we do it with real-time music, the first set of voltas are halftime and the second set are real-time. If you haven't yet learned this routine and you'd like to look at it in more detail, again, you can go back to my Samba Basics 1 and 2 videos so that you can learn those steps and that routine. Okay, so now let's try the whole practice routine, including the steps that we learned today, with halftime music. Ready, we go.
so much for joining me for today's lesson. Leave a comment below and let me know how you did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications for my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at DanceDoctorOnline. Until next time, keep dancing.